You got your pilot's license? Call Ocala Aviation today. 352-861-7484. That's 352-861-7484. Hey, you've earned it. Call today.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Thursday morning. Hope you're doing well. I think you're going to like this next interview. This will make you think a little bit. On the phone is Michael Dow. He's a tech CEO in various roles, ranging from software developer. He's a proposal writer, a management consultant, a CEO who has overseen billion-dollar companies. His book is interesting, especially when it comes to the role that money plays in our lives. The book is called Dark Matters, a science fiction thriller novel. And in fact, speaking of money, it says in my notes that a project that raised over $25,000 on Kickstarter, one of the highest funded sci-fi books in Kickstarter history. That's pretty cool. And that kind of dovetails perfectly with what I think we're going to talk about. And let's find out now from Michael Dow. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Larry. Thanks for having me.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I am calling from beautiful Traverse City, Michigan, about the other end from where you are in terms of, and where we're still looking at a little snow up here.
Oh, really? So when you think about the future, when you think about what you want to write to perhaps change the world or at least entertain us, you're probably like most people that, how am I going to get this out there? So you go to Kickstarter to try to raise a few dollars to do this, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. After I actually sold my company a few years ago and decided I was going to write this book, and I had kind of the story in the back of my head, but I wasn't a writer or an author by any means. So I thought the Kickstarter project would both help raise some money to do the editing and publishing and all that kind of stuff, but also kind of gauge whether anybody out there thought that there was any there's any interest in this story. So put the story out there. I made a little book video trailer about what the book's going to be all about, and put it out to see what happens, and turned out there was a little bit of interest.
Yeah. Now I was watching this thing the other day where it was shown, I think it was King Louis something over in France, and then the narrator of the piece said that he spent half of France's gross national product back in his day to build this gigantic castle, whatever it was called. And I thought to myself, well, if you're spending the money, that means somebody is getting the money. So all those peons or what do you call the poor people, at least they were having something to do to make a living from, even if it was to fuel his own ego. At least, hey, the money's trickling from somewhere, right?
Well, certainly, and in the case of Kickstarter, the other kind of unanticipated benefit I got was that I had a whole bunch of people who were interested and excited in seeing the book, and they actually got copies of the book prior to its official release. So
that's great.
I had people who wrote reviews for me and who gave me feedback and were kind of out there, proselytizing for the book before it was even out there and released. So I got kind of some momentum prior to the book release in February.
Right, but in addition to what we're saying so far is this idea, this thought. I was in the grocery store. I'm in the grocery store quite often. And in the checkout lane, there's these tabloids, and there's always a picture of Prince, whatever his name is, Harry, William. Who's the guy with the pretty lady wife? I can't remember his name. But
yeah, that's now Prince Harry, yeah.
Okay. So, but I'm thinking this guy has everything in his hands. He didn't work for any of it. And you would think that a guy like that would say, okay, why don't I write a book that'll change the world? I don't have to worry about getting the money to publish it. I got all the money I need, and I got all the notoriety I need. All I have to do is write a book, and the world will say, hey, the Prince wrote a book, and everybody will read it. And now nobody knows if it'll be a good book or if it'll actually say something profound. But I think your point, from the way I understand it, because as Rob mentioned, we don't have the book yet. I think we booked you like yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But I think the notes indicate that you basically say that it's a small percentage of the people that make a big difference in this world, and they're not usually the ones who are the richest.
Well, and they are. It's interesting. So this book is called Dark Matters, and on the surface, it's about a scientist, a couple of people actually, who discover what dark matter is. And I don't know if you follow the universe and kind of the fact that all the matter we see in the universe is just 5% of what's really out there, and all the rest is this dark matter and dark energy. It was discovered by Fritz Zwicky in the 1930s, and here we are 85 years later, and we still don't know what it is.
Right.
To me, that was kind of a fascinating story. But as I did the research, I decided to set the story in this not-too-distant future where the billionaires have become trillionaires, and there's these handful of trillionaires who are kind of, running the world, and they've got the money and the influence, and I think equally important, the technology to kind of do what they want. And in their minds, they are these benevolent dictators. They're doing what the politicians are incapable of doing, and have kind of fallen down in taking care of the world. And we've got, there's now 10 billion people on the planet. There's, we're dwindling natural resources. The climate change has kind of reared its head, and so they're saying, hey, we're out there saving the world. So these trillionaires, the future Warren Buffetts of the world, they really believe they are the saving grace, and they're doing great things. Now, who put them in charge and who decided they're allowed to make the decisions for humanity? Well, that's another question to be asked. And so the book is really meant as a thought-provoking way to package, this income inequality and wealth gap issue in an entertaining fashion. So, you try to read some of the PhD economics books on this topic and you fall asleep. And this is a way to look at it that I think it's interesting and entertaining, I hope, and then a little bit thought-provoking to let you kind of think about what the future might look like if we stay on this current path.
But the way your book came into being, not the way you've authored it and had the concept and stuff, but the other way about bringing it to the public's attention really epitomizes the spirit of the American public, because as everybody can see with this election, it's the people that are trying to move all of the ideas and everything as opposed to just a select group. And that's what you did with the fruition of your book, is that a lot of people came together to help with this.
Exactly, and I think that getting some funding from a mechanism like Kickstarter, and then and the way I'm out trying to publicize and talk about it, I really want to bring the topic to the, for lack of a better term, to the 99% in a way that is fun. And because it's, we're a world, let's face it, we're kind of a world of Bill Maher as opposed to Walter Cronkite these days. Everybody wants their serious topics packaged in an entertaining fashion. So here's an entertaining book, but also very thought-provoking book about what this world may look like in 50 or 60 years if we allow the wealth gap and income inequality to continue the way it currently is.
And I guess it would depend on who that person with the money is. If that person is benevolent, as you said, then maybe it wouldn't be so bad. If that person wanted to, if that person was Kim Jong-un, then we might be in trouble.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different story. So that's and I want the Bernie Sanders faction to maybe learn a thing or two about the potential upside of having trillionaires with good intentions, and I want maybe the Donald Trump supporters of the world to say, well, okay, yeah, I do see the potential pitfalls of a billionaire who's able to do whatever they want and has no accountability. There's equally an issue there as well, and one of the issues I tackle is this. In 2008 we had this too big to fail with the banks, and they were effectively above the law in what they did. And what I worry about is, are we headed towards a world where there's a too big for jail, and you have
we already have that world. Yeah.
Well, and so what I say is, you think we already have it, but imagine years from now when not just bankers but criminals, where you can do literally whatever you want, and you are effectively above the law because you can just buy your way out of anything. So,
or an extreme that goes along with that, not to counter that, but to go along with that, is that if somebody really non-benevolent, like Kim Jong-un, they'll put you in jail for looking at him the wrong way. And actually, didn't that just happen in Cuba?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Didn't that just happen this past week?
Well, and that's part of if you read the book, you'll see. Cause, to me, it's about power, it's about wealth, it's about influence, and it's equally about technology. And so, if you look at the billionaires that were created in the early 20th century, the Rockefellers and the Carnegies, our first billionaires didn't have an internet, they didn't have a global economy, they didn't have the mechanisms to really influence on a global scale. Well, now you have all those things, and you say, what would $1 trillion buy you in 50 or 60 years? Well, you could, with your pocket change, you could own your own private satellite fleet and communications network. I mean, you could have space stations. There are things that you could purchase that give you incredible influence.
Right, but I want to compare that to the King Louis story. Is that in order to have those things, you still have to pay the peons, the lower end of the spectrum, to do those jobs. I mean, if you have a factory that builds those satellites, guess what? Every one of those people in that factory should be getting paid, including the guy who sweeps the floor.
And that would be true until 50 years from now, when robotics becomes an enormous piece of the equation, and you've got suddenly these entire manufacturing plants where you can build a satellite without a single human.
Wow, that'd be crazy. All right,
that's another question.
Yeah, let's take a little break. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Partly sunny and warm today with a stray shower near the coast. High of 83 to 88. Patchy clouds tonight, stays warm, a low of 64 to 69. And sunny to partly cloudy with a stray thunder shower in the afternoon hours tomorrow. Another warm with a high of 84 to 90. Another shower thunderstorm with some sun on Saturday and a high of 79 to 86. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Maggie Johnson.
Dr. John W. Grace, board certified in general psychiatry, will be our guest Tuesday, April 5th at 10:30 to let you know about poker-based psychotherapy and a charity event to be held April 9th. I can't wait to learn more about this exciting concept for therapy and the event. Dr. Grace was a regular on this station for quite some time, so we know the kind of professional he is, dedicated to helping the community and going the extra mile. Mark your calendar now for Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. with Dr. John W. Grace.
Hey Ocala, this is Kelly Hart, Executive Editor of Ocala Magazine. Did you know last year Ocala Magazine won more awards in excellence than any other publication in Florida? And this year, Ocala Magazine was named Best Consumer Magazine in the state. Now you can join me every Friday at 10 a.m. on Ocala Magazine Radio, where we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life, right here on The Source. Ocala Magazine thanks you for making us number one. And remember, there is only one Ocala Magazine.
All right, 17 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Yesterday or 2 days ago, we had this story about each state in the United States has a statue in the Capitol to represent their state, and the state of Florida chose two men. One is a military person from the Confederacy, and I guess his statue is being taken away, but I don't want to focus on him. I want to focus on the other statue. It's a guy by the last name of Gorrie, Gorrie, and he's credited with inventing the air conditioner. And if you think about how Florida probably wouldn't be as populated right now if we didn't have air conditioning. That's why he represents Florida so appropriately. I was thinking about this though as we talked to Michael Dow about his book Dark Matters, and I want to make sure we're fair to the book. But this is such a fascinating concept that he's come up with. That if the rich, Michael, were to be completely in control of everything, which would happen if we had trillionaires telling us what to do and not needing us to build things because they had robots to build things, then I think we would become stagnant. I think what happened when America was founded, a lot of the inventions, like the air conditioner, like the car, like all kinds of things that happened in this country, came to be because of one simple fact. We enabled people to make money from their ideas with a thing called a patent, right? And so if you let the little guy tinker in the tool shop or tinker on his computer in today's world, that little guy has a reason, a motivation to do that because he says, wow, if I just do this, maybe I can make some money, you know?
Right.
And so I think the rich guys will still need the poor guys to be tinkering because they're not going to be tinkering if all they're doing all day long is shining their shoes.
Yeah, it's a great question, and again, part of what I hope people sit back and think about a little bit as they read the book. And if you look in this future, you look at some of the other technologies that will be available to not just for the trillionaires to use, to their own ends, but in I guess what I would describe as in controlling the status quo, which is to say, take virtual reality. We already have. I saw a video yesterday of a headpiece you can wear that allows you to see, basically do a holographic video connection with your friend, and you can see your friend standing there in front of you. Well, imagine there's where we are today. In 50 years, there's a scene in the book where the CEO of this $1 trillion company is arguing with his daughter because she wants to go on a video reality date with her friend in Rio de Janeiro. Now, the daughter says, "Dad, it's just virtual reality. We're not really in Rio. Me and my friend Carlos are just going to go have some fun to do this, that, and the other." And Dad's saying, "Well, you know what? What exactly is this, that, and the other?" And she's saying, "Well, who cares? It's fake. Who cares?"
Who cares?
And he's saying, no, I do care. I don't. That's at some point that's not fake. So that's on the one hand. I don't have any doubt we're going to have that capability in 50 years, and you can imagine a lot of people could spend today. People already spend time in their video games hours after hours. Imagine when it's that kind of reality, and how much time people might spend doing that, and how that keeps you off the streets from protesting that the trillionaires are running things. So,
I might do one of those things. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun to me, which is why I want to talk about it.
All right, we have somebody calling in. Let's take that phone call. Again, our guest is Michael Dow. His book is called Dark Matters. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. The people that really run this whole world is our leaders. This ship has turned the Federal Reserve over to private individuals, and these people, money's nothing to them. These people in our government in cahoots has made every man, woman, and child a slave. This interest, the Federal Reserve has nothing to do with the government. It's a private entity. And these people have made us all into slaves. And until we do away with the Federal Reserve, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse because the money is turned into dung.
All right. Appreciate that. Appreciate your thoughts on that. Well, and a lot of people feel like whoever has the money is creating the rules, and in a way, that's kind of true. In this country, we're not supposed to have that. We're supposed to have this checks and balances, but I don't say that the caller is all that wrong.
And I'll give you another great example. In the book, 50 years in the future, the trillionaires have decided that even, the Swiss banks and the other mainstream banks of the world are too restrictive, and they basically use their money to set up they take a third world country and inject trillions of dollars into that country and set it up as its own bank so that they can control and run their money through it the way they would like, outside of the influence of governments, and they can do it because that country suddenly becomes a first world country. So that's the level of dollars that you're talking about here. And again, is that going to happen? Who knows? But it's an interesting topic, I think, to think about it, as where that could go. You think the Federal Reserve is bad? Imagine where a handful of trillionaires now own their own central bank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And people shouldn't be afraid to advance in life. They shouldn't be afraid to use their ideas and make themselves better and make more money, thereby employing others. And that's really another point that you're bringing out, is that people shouldn't be criticized for making their own money through their own ideas.
And I absolutely agree with that. And I'm a capitalist at heart, and I'm all for, bettering yourself and making money and doing. And I think the question is, is there such a thing as too much money? Is there such a thing as, a point where it's just it provides too much power for just a handful of people? And if you look at the statistics, while we're all talking about the richest 1%, the reality is the world's 1,800 billionaires are growing their wealth orders of magnitude faster than even the 1%. So that they're doing to the 1% what the 1% is doing to the 99%. And I don't think that's getting the same kind of media attention about, how quickly the richest 100 people in the world have grown their wealth by 50% in the past 5 years. They now own over $2 trillion, just 100 people. So it's really fascinating when you look at it at that level.
Yeah, politically speaking, I don't know what you could do about it. I don't know if you can make a law that says you can't make that much money, because
you shouldn't.
You'll move to another country. That person wouldn't live here anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's do you just tax them to death? Well, then certainly there are implications of that in there. So those are the kind of questions we and ultimately, maybe I might rather have Warren Buffett running the world than some of the leadership we have today. So that's another question.
Well, and that's why why we have a vote.
Right.
Exactly.
But I also think that if the person, oh, now I lost my train of thought. Let me ask you about the story in the book. Maybe my thought will come back. Dark Matters. This is actually science fiction. So you have a protagonist and you have a cast of characters. I'm guessing, right?
So I call it a science fiction thriller, and like I said, there's kind of an unlikely duo: a physicist, a scientist, and a art curator of all people, who stumble on what dark matter really is, and kind of the revelation of dark matter kind of throws a wrench into the plans of this consortium, this cabal of a handful of trillionaires. And so they are in the crosshairs of the consortium, and they're trying to figure out the meaning of, what does this really mean for humanity and what dark matter is. And so it's kind of a race against time as to whether the trillionaires are going to execute their end game, or this physicist and the art curator are going to figure out, what their purpose is here in the world and what dark matter really is all about. So
define an art curator. What is an art curator?
Oh, I'm sorry. An
art curator.
She owns.
An art curator. Okay. I didn't know what you meant. Okay.
Yeah. That's my Philadelphia accent.
Okay. All right. I just didn't know what you meant. And I figured it was a she, because I knew there had to be a pretty girl in there somewhere.
There is certainly, her name is Monique, and she was a lot of fun to write. Obviously, I have teenage girls, but I really drew on. I've had the fortune of working with some really amazing women in my day, both with and for, actually, some incredible and incredibly talented women. And so the character of Monique is kind of modeled on some of those women that I've known over the years, and really she, at the end of the day, she is the protagonist of the story.
It is kind of interesting that in the political lineup, those who are in that political lineup, maybe with the exception of Ben Carson, and of course he's not in it anymore, but those who were not political, that would be Carly Fiorina, Ben Carson, Donald Trump, and I don't know on the Democratic side who would be there, but they were all rich, except for maybe Ben Carson. I don't think he was rich, but...
And not as rich as them, but I think he had a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think the 99% would call him rich, but certainly compared to Donald Trump, maybe not.
Oh, okay. But I guess, that is interesting, isn't it? I'm sure we have some people who are more than capable of running the country who just would never have the means to get their faces there. And that is another problem we have. It's another discussion, of course, but the fact that you have to pay money to get your name on the ballot.
Well, and I would go further than that and to say, in my mind, one of our issues is that when I think about some of the greatest leaders that I know, whether they're business or just environmental or whatever it may be, to me that what it takes to get elected these days is almost 180 degrees different than what it takes to be a great leader and lead the country. So, and I think that's evolved over time with the media and the other things that are kind of the realities of being rich isn't the only criteria, and in fact you could argue is not a criteria for being a great leader, particularly if you just inherited the money. So to me, how do we get back to a process for electing that elects or allows the kind of people that could lead this country to greatness to want to, where are the people who have done, that should be running for office that are not? And there are a lot of them that I'd love to see run for, a lot of elected office, and they just don't want to because of the realities of what you have to go through.
Well, it sounds like you've married real-world politics and real-world issues with science fiction in the book. So I'm looking forward to reading it. It's called Dark Matters, a science fiction thriller novel is how it's described. Book 1 in the Dark Matters trilogy, so you've got more coming out. And give us a website so we can look up the book or maybe even buy it.
The book is at darkmattersbook.com. That's www.darkmattersbook, all one word.com. And you can, if you sign up for my newsletter on the subscribe site there, you'll get the first 50 pages of the book for free. So you can read that. It'll download to you. And there's also you can watch the video trailer that was part of the Kickstarter campaign and see kind of a, movie trailer style video of the book and what it's all about.
I just went to the website. Okay. Well, thank you for being on the air. This was a very thought-provoking topic, and I'm sure the book will be even more thought-provoking. Obviously, a radio interview is going to be just scratching the surface of any given topic. There you are. I see your picture right here. You're a good-looking guy. Michael Dowd.
That's the photographer.
Okay.
The photographer gets credit for that picture. I don't know whether I give myself that kind of credit. Thank you very much. Larry, I appreciate the time. It's been a great time.
Oh, you're welcome. Is the book already on Amazon and all those other sites?
Yeah, you can. There's a buy the book link right there on my website, and the book is both the hard copy and the ebook are available on Amazon, and you can get those today.
Oh, I see. Oh, you got 5 stars already. 5 stars, 20 reviews. That's not bad.
No.
It's like I said, that's the benefit of Kickstarter. The book's only been out a few weeks, and from day one, I've had all these great reviews because people had already read the book the day it came out. So that was a nice. I didn't think I can't take credit for that. It didn't occur to me, but that was a great benefit of doing Kickstarter as well.
Brilliant storytelling. Somebody wrote disturbing glimpse of a possible future. Oh, that's pretty insightful. Thank you so much for being on the air with us. I'm looking forward to reading the book. Michael Dow, thank you.
Great, thank you, Larry. Have a great one.
We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Rich Dennison. A number of protests in Minneapolis after 2 white police officers are cleared in the fatal shooting of a black man last year. The Hennepin County DA saying evidence shows Jamar Clark was not handcuffed and tried to grab an officer's gun. Officers still face an internal and federal investigation. Ted Cruz enjoying the latest polling. Fox News' Carl Cameron explains.
Ted Cruz has surged into a lead in Wisconsin with 40% over Donald Trump at 30 and John Kasich at 21, according to a new Marquette University law poll. With national polls showing Trump's combative campaign turning off women, Trump, who switched from pro-choice to pro-life in the last few years, suggested that women should be punished for abortion, but not men, and never even mentioned abortion providers.
Trump later walking back the comments, saying only the person performing the abortion would be punished. Fox News. We report, you decide.
What's the next big event you want to go to? Baseball opening day? The NBA and NHL playoff push? Maybe it's a concert or family show. Whatever it is, you can bet that someone is going to pay less than you for the same seats. How? They have an in. But now you do too, thanks to ScoreBig.com. Because Score Big knows a big secret. 40% of all tickets go unsold. And Score Big works directly with teams and performers to get the best deals on those tickets at unpublished prices and pass the savings along to you, up to 60% off box office. Next time you want to buy tickets, go to ScoreBig.com first. Your tickets are guaranteed to be authentic, shipping is free, and you'll never be surprised with the hidden fees that you see on other ticketing sites.
If you go to scorebig.com right now, click on the microphone and enter promo code 1010, you'll save an extra $20 off your first ticket purchase. That's scorebig.com, promo code 1010. Scorebig.com, promo code 1010.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, a new spoiler, and a new trunk.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too.
Well, as a matter of fact, join me, Matt Gibbs from Sunrise Automotive, every Tuesday at 10 for auto repair with personal care right here on The Source.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting was